Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Stack and Perpetrator here. In this video, I gotta catch up on some album fills for my main collection, which is my little tins. And the nice thing about little tins, I can just go through the albums and pull the page out, which makes it slightly easier to work with. And what I have to do is crack open the 2021 proof set, the 2021 silver proof set, and the 2021 P&D uncirculated set for my album fills. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to show the entire process, so I'll crack open a couple things and then I'll show you how I do it, and then I'll pause the video while I break open some of the other stuff. That's another reason my handy dandy ruler comes in handy to help helps me get into these sets. This will open up, cover off. Basically pull that out of the Denver. And it's going to require a little bit of scissor action. Some of you might there's some out there and might consider this blasphemy, but this is what you do when you're filling your albums. But it's the sacrifice some of us are willing to make to do our albums, and that frees up the quarters. I will do the rest of these off camera, and then I will bring you back as I get them filled. I need to keep that with the Denver so I know which one it is. The Philly, but that's all it is. Just cut it open and pop them out. I will set that to the side for the moment. I'll show you the proof set. The silver proof set's the same thing. And these, I'm going to start with the quarters first. But basically with these are pretty simple. You just give it a, so you hear the pop. And this is where my little handy dandy ruler comes in handy. Find the right spot. Oh, come on, where's it at? There we go. I slide the ruler in. Wedge up on the corners. Sometimes it a little more open on this end. And there we go. I can theoretically put this back together, pull this out. These do have a little haze on them. So, but that's from the mint. So I will set those off. Basically, this one cracks open the same, and then the silver proof set cracks open the same way. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I have to put the Tuskegee Airmen, I have to fill those in. But there's a unique situation. The Tuskegee Airmen is part of the commemorative National Park Series. But then we transitioned to the Crossing the Delaware coin, but that is not part of the National Park Series. So there's technically, the national park ends with the Tuskegee Airmen, and there's album spot for it, but the Washington Crossing the Delaware is not part of the National Park Series. And then this was the 2 coins for 2021. Now we're in 2022, and we have the 5 women's quarters, which starts a whole nother album itself. So technically, the George Crossing the Delaware doesn't fit in an album. And also, we had the SMIT business strikes, the San Francisco business strikes, for all the way up from 2012 all the way up through the Tuskegee Airmen. But for the Crossing the Delaware, there was no San Francisco business strike. So there's only going to be the 4 coins. There's going to be the P&D, the proof, and then the silver proof. So I will bring you back. I did add a blank page in the album for the Washington Crossing the Delaware. But let me pause the video. I'll fit those in. I'll show you, and then we'll go through the album, and then I'll do another video on breaking the other stuff out. And I'll show you what that looks like. But let me get these quarters done. I'll be right back. All right, that did take but a minute. So let's go through the America's National Park Commemorative Quarters. This is volume 2 for Littleton. This involves the 2016 through the 2021, even though I did put the Washington Crossing the Delaware in here. I said there's no album for it because it's just the 4 coins, and the very next album is the American Women's Quarters. So let's go through this. We'll go page by page. That's starts out with 2016. The first column is all the Philadelphia. The second column is all the Denver issue. Third column is the clad proofs. And the fourth column is the silver proofs. So we got the Illinois, Kentucky, got the West Virginia, North Dakota, South Dakota. Just give you a glimpse of the back. I said this is one of the advantages I do like with the Littleton is the pages come out. Then we go to 2017. There's the Iowa, District of Columbia, Missouri, New Jersey, and then Indiana. Go to the 2018s. You got Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Georgia, and Rhode Island. 2019, we had Massachusetts, the Northern Mariana Islands, we had Guam, Texas. I do like the Texas coin. Idaho, just something about the design. It's pretty cool. Then there was Idaho. for 2020, we had American Samoa, Connecticut, U.S. Virgin Islands. We went to Vermont, and then Kansas. Kansas is another nice one with the butterfly. It is the tall grass prairie. It is a nice coin. But then, if you remember, we have the S mints, the San Francisco business strikes. There's no spots in the album, so I got a blank page. And I started out with the 2016s. And I went the first 5 slots of the 2016 S mints. Then I went to 2017s, which were these 3, and then ended up here. And then we go to 2018, which is 2, and then the 3, and then 2019. And in 2019, well, let me show you, just so you. Now these are the business strikes. These are not proofs. These are the business strike. You see the S right there on these. This is all the S mints. But if you remember, in 2019 and 2020, we had the West Point quarters. So before I show you those, let's start at the top, the Tuskegee Airmen. This is the Philadelphia that I broke out, or well, Philadelphia that I broke out, and then next to it is the Denver that I cut out, and then there's the proof from the, I showed you when I broke the capsule part open, and then there's the silver proof for it, and that technically ends the National Park series. But in 2019 and 2020, we had the West Point quarters. So I have the first 5 right here, the 2019s. Then I went to the 2020s, which would be these 3, ending up with the tall grass prairie. But then I switched back to the S mint for 2020. There's those 2. And it ends at the tall prairie. And then we have the Tuskegee Airmen S mint. So let me turn the page over and show you these. Now this is the Tuskegee Airmen right here. So then we start with the West Point, and I'll just go through and get my magnifier and see the West Point. Show you the West Point mint marks. And then when you got to 2020, not only did you get the West Point mint mark, which is right there, but it's also, you got the V75 what do they call that, privy mark. Maybe my camera will pick it up. You can see the privy mark right there. And you can see the W mint mark. And then, so that would be 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, and then we go back to the S mint marks, which, everything to, oh, that's a West Point. Or Matt, oh, I'm the wrong. I hate when the album's upside down. West Point, West Point, West Point. So this one should start the S. Yep, there we go. So I can get the camera to pick it up. You can see the S mint mark. That's the business strike. That's not a proof, and it's not a silver proof. That is the S San Francisco business strike. And then we end up with the 2021, takes up the last spot right there for the San Francisco business strike. So then we have the dilemma, what do we do with George crossing the Delaware? Well, I have to sacrifice a blank page to put the four, the Philadelphia, the Denver, the San Francisco proof, and then the silver proof. And you can see a definite difference between a proof, a clad proof, and a silver proof. I mean, it's just like night and day. So I sacrificed a page because technically it doesn't go in this album, but then it doesn't go in the American Women Quarters album. So I will park it in this album. And then that was the unique thing too. There was no S-Mint business strike for the Washington crossing the Delaware. So I think we'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what you think. I will do another video where I break the other stuff out and fill it into the pages. Let me know if you've done this set. I'm finally glad to complete it. I've been waiting quite a while to actually sit down and do this. So this is another album that is complete. And we will see you on the next one.